Hey everyone, welcome back to our kitchen and welcome back to our channel. Pull yourselves up a chair, sit down, and let's cook something delicious together. Tonight, we're gonna take it back to, the 70s, the 80s, whatever you wanna say. You remember those really good lunch meals that you had, or those TV dinners with the Salisbury steak or the hamburger steak and gravy and mashed potatoes? That, folks, right there is what we're making tonight. First of all, the difference between a Salisbury steak and a hamburger steak is basically filling. So a Salisbury steak is lighter, fluffier, and it's made with fillings. And your fillings, by that I mean breadcrumbs, panko, eggs, things like that. Basically, it stretches your meat so that it goes further. Hamburger steak is just that. Some steak, hamburgers, and seasonings. That's it. So the first thing you want to do is have 1.5 pounds of hamburger meat.
Hamburger?
And we're going to add some garlic to this. And I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to add garlic to the other side as well. Because one of the other things you don't want to do is you don't want to over mix this. You kind of want to fold it. You don't want to squish it and make it like dense. We're going to do the same thing with our onion powder. We're going to add some of that seasoning on one side. We're going to flip it over. Just flip it. Keeping it in that loose, airy quality that it is. And put it on the other side. I'm going to take some of this Kinder's buttery steak and add to both sides. And you don't have to flip it back and forth if you don't want to. I just want to make sure, since I'm folding it and not mushing it together, that it is seasoned completely through. And we're going to use some of this buttery garlic and herb. The mouth doesn't engage when the brain engages. That's fine. We're going to put that on this side, and I didn't flip it this time. I'm going to flip it and put both of these on the other side. We're going to go in with just a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Now I'm going to go ahead and flip that like I did previously. So now I have that side there, and I'm going to do the same thing with the buttery steakhouse and the buttery garlic and herb. A little bit of Worcestershire. And then your next key ingredient, that's another pro tip, is using some baking soda and water mixture before we mix this together to let it sit. So you're gonna need about a teaspoon of water and a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Now we don't want to use too much or you will taste it in the meat. And then just give that a little bit of a stir, get that all mixed in there, pour that right on top. And now we just want to fold this meat together.
You just fold it like a sheet?
You just fold, not really press too much. We just kind of want to mix the ingredients.
Are you folding like a fitted sheet or a regular sheet?
It's like a regular sheet. Just like a regular sheet. You don't want to crush it. You just kind of want to fold it, like I said. You want to keep it nice and light and fluffy. And then we're going to stick this in the refrigerator for a half an hour. And we're going to let those seasonings mix together before we make this into our patties. And like I said, these are going to be hamburger steaks. We're going to make some gravy. We're going to add some mushrooms to our gravy. Hamburger. So just pick it up and fold it over on itself. We're not going to over mix this. Just going to let those seasonings get all in that meat. And we're going to stick this in the refrigerator and we'll see you in 30 minutes. All right, our meat has rested for 30 minutes in the refrigerator. We're going to go ahead and put a pan on our oven on the top of the stove on medium heat. And we're just going to add a little bit of olive oil to that. We're going to let that heat up while we make our patties. So again, we don't want to overwork this meat. We're just going to take it, form it together. Just like that. Just like that. You should get about 4 or 5 out of here. You can make them round, you can make them oval, you can make whatever you feel like. Like I said, that oil will be heating, and then we're going to fry these for 3 to 4 minutes per side. We just want to get a nice good sear on the outside of these and get some of that fond down in the bottom of our pan to use for our gravy. Are you waiting to go back to the 70s or the 80s or whatever it is? So there we have our 5 little hamburger steaks ready to go. Our oil's here and it's nice and hot over that medium heat. So we're just going to go ahead and put these in. And we're going to sear these, like I said, 4 to 5 minutes per side. Get a nice crust and some nice fond on the bottom of the pan. Once they're placed, you really don't want to move them around until you get that good crust on there. It's been 5 minutes. We're going to go ahead and flip those hamburger steaks. I already started to do it here. But that's what we're looking for, a nice good sear on that outside. And we're going to let them cook for another 5 minutes. While they're cooking on that other side for 5 minutes, we're going to take half of an onion and we're going to go ahead and get that sliced up nice and small. So I just kind of want to mince these onions up. Okay, we're going to push those right to the side here. And we're going to get our garlic ready. Just going to take the peels off and then we're going to mince that up as well. This is a very weak garlic, so we're going to use about 6 cloves. Normally, if it's a better garlic, we would use only 3. These have cooked 5 minutes on the other side. We're going to go ahead and pull these off and take this off of the heat. We're just going to set these aside. We want to use this oil and grease and the fond that's in the bottom of this pan to make our gravy, because that's what makes it delicious. We'll just get this off the heat and we're going to set these aside. Continue to peel the rest of our garlic and mince it up. Just going to put that right in our little mincer here. And bam, just like that, the garlic is done. This little thing is magical. It makes perfect minced garlic. You can use a press, but you don't get those chunks in using a press that you get with this. That's your preference. All right, you see all that good flavor and fond down in here. We're going to use all that. We're not going to take any of that out of there. We're going to add 3 tablespoons of this Kerrygold butter. We're going to let that melt. All right, as that has melted, we're going to go ahead and add in our mushrooms. And our onions. I'm going to stir this around, let it pick up all that fond on the bottom of that pan, all that flavor and goodness that's left over down there from those hamburger steaks. And we're just going to saute these until they're browned and start to be a little fragrant. The onions become transparent. These are some pretty big mushrooms, so I'm going to chop some of these. You can see how that's starting to lift that off the bottom. That's exactly what we want. We want those mushrooms and onions to pick up all that flavor. Kind of clean that bottom of that pan. Look how nicely the bottom of that pan has cleaned up. Picked up all that flavor. That's exactly what we want. Right? Oh, that little mushroom tried to escape. We're going to add that minced garlic right on top. Take that for a dance and swirl it around. Oh, I can smell that. You only want to cook that about 30 seconds here. You can already smell it, so we're in fine shape. That is perfect. This is where we're going to take it up a notch from the 1970s and the 1980s and something they'd serve in school. We're going to add a half a cup of red wine. That accentuates that flavor, makes this gravy nice and rich. I'm going to let that simmer off and cook that alcohol out of there. So we want to reduce this by half the liquid that's in here.
Oh, babe.
As that's reducing, we're going to take 2 cups of hot water and 2 teaspoons of beef base. And we're going to get this ready. It's just beef base, babe. Right, now that that has reduced down to half of what it was, we're going to go ahead and add in 2 tablespoons of flour. So we're kind of making the gravy roux at this point. You want to cook this flour, stir it in and cook it until the flour taste is gone and it starts to thicken up and make a roux here. So you just want to get all that flour in there. You don't want it to leave like a floury taste. This is going to be your thickener for your gravy. And then we're going to slowly add in this beef-based water mixture we made. Let's just pour some in, stir it around, let it get all together. Add some more. Get that all to mix with that flour. Does that not look good already? Oh, daggone right it does. And we'll put the rest in. We're going to stir that.
You're done with that?
Yep. Now at that point, that gravy is going to thicken up. But we want to return our hamburger steaks back in here as that thickens to heat them again and release the rest of the juices that are in there. And we just want this to simmer until that thickens up. So we're going to turn this down and we're just going to let this simmer away until this thickens up. It'll heat those hamburger steaks back up. This gravy will thicken. And we're going to have some good hamburger gravy steaks
we added mushrooms, and we added some red wine. This is going to be amazing. And then we're going to make some Irish garlic mashed potatoes, Parmesan mashed potatoes with this as well. So we're just going to let this alone now. And there you have it, folks. Old school hamburger steaks in that rich gravy, ready to be plated. We're going to scoop up some of these Irish garlic Parmesan mashed potatoes and put right down on the bottom of our plate here. We're going to add one of them delicious, really good looking hamburger steaks right on top. And some of that mushroom garlic gravy. And there you have it, folks. Hamburger steaks with a mushroom gravy. Better than anything you've had in the 1980s, 70s, or the 90s. Fresh, light, and airy. Tender as can be. Just take a look at that. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Till next time, stay cooking.